Welcome in to Buy or Bust, presented by Lidos, and in today's video, we take a look at the latest Civilization release with Civilization 7. Now, it had been 9 years since the last Civilization was released, with Civilization 6 coming out in October of 2016, and whether you are a casual player of Civilization over the last few decades, a hardcore player, or someone who is completely brand new, Civilization 7 is going to have quite a bit of a learning curve, as they really went the distance to make as many changes to how the game is played, and it really is from the top down. The changes start pretty much immediately when you enter into a new game. Now, instead of just choosing a nation that you will build your civilization with, you've now got to choose a leader and then a civilization on top of that. So after you pick a leader, that really doesn't determine your civilization that you are going to play. Once you've done that, you need to choose what age you are going to play. You can choose the Antiquity Age, Exploration Age, and Modern Age. The biggest change to Civilization 7 is that it is no longer linear, meaning that everyone will play the Antiquity Age until it is concluded. Once that has happened, you will then go into the Exploration Age, and same situation. You will play throughout the Exploration Age, and then once that is done, everyone will move into the Modern Age and the final stage of the game. And what is kind of cool about Civilization 7 is that you can choose whichever age that you want to when you are going to play Civ 7. Specifically online with your friends, this is actually a pretty fun feature. However, it does have some major differences from Civ 6. Now, once you've chosen which age you want to play, that is when you will choose a civilization. So if you choose Antiquity, you can choose Egypt or Greece, and they will all come with different abilities and units and things like that. Again, far different than what it was in the prior civilizations, because then once you enter into a new age, you have to then make a new selection as to what civilization you are going to use. You are not just going to use Greece from start to finish all the way to the Modern Age, which again was met with a lot of criticism, but so far through my time playing the game is actually quite fun. Now, in my first 50 hours of playing the game, I really just explored the Antiquity Age. When it comes to graphics and things like that, Civilization 7 is a nice, fresh coat of paint. It is far nicer looking when you zoom all the way in and zoom all the way out. The board just looks much nicer. But after that, the changes are quite vast when it comes to playing the game, and even for someone like myself who's had over 1,000 hours in Civilization 6, I was completely confused and kind of lost when I went into my first game. One of the biggest changes to building your civilization is that you start with a founder, not a settler. Once you've founded a city, everything works through this, but you have to hit certain thresholds before you can make a settler and build your empire. When it comes to the UI, it's actually very dumbed down. It is very simple and almost too simple. Hard to explain for anyone that has dabbled in Civilization in the past. I almost felt like there just wasn't enough information, and it seemed almost too light when it came to the information provided from the new UI. Now, when it comes to the age progress, these are the things that are going to track who is in the lead and winning your game of Civilization 7. You've got culture, military, science, and economic, and you can also see your rankings of each. So when you are in a large game, you don't want to just hyper-focus on one. It is important to have a few of these that are actually being worked towards, being the leader of your civilization. When it comes to each of these requirements to win, there is a track progress button. And for, let's say, culture, you need to house 7 wonders in your empire. For military, you need to have 12 towns or cities in your empire. Conquered settlements count as 2. For science, you need to display 12 codices in your empire. And economic, assign 20 resources to your settlement. So it is really going to depend on the civilization you have in the age that you have, as well as your resources and your starting zone. When it comes to civics and texts, it remains quite similar. However, as you can see, I'm in the Antiquity Age, and it only goes to philosophy and commerce, and once you hit that, you are then in future civic. Like I mentioned, everyone goes through the Antiquity Age and then stops, and then everyone moves forward into the Exploration Age. You can't just hyper-focus on one, get all the way through the entire civics tree like you could in Civilization 6 and prior games, where you could just get super far ahead. everyone is capped because of the age system. Same thing works for your tech tree. So again, as you go through, you'll see that you can only get to mathematics and ironworking, and then you hit future tech. Again, that will expand as you go further into the next age. Now, when it comes to do I enjoy Civilization 7? After, again, the first initial frustration that I had while playing the game, because simply I thought that I would be able to knowledgeably go into this game because of so many hours put into Civilization 6, there was a lot of frustration met in the beginning. This is a game that you are going to need to invest time learning just as much as you are playing. So, for anyone that is maybe casually thinking about playing Civilization, I don't really think this is a casual game. Even though you don't play it online, a lot of people don't. In all of my time playing Civilization 6, I never played online. However, when it comes to Civilization 7, again, you can't just go into it and then slowly learn. It'll lead to a lot of frustration, unless that is the type of player you want to be, but it is going to take a considerable amount of time and learning to figure out all of the new nuances that you've got in Civilization 7. So, when it comes to buy or bust for Civilization 7, I would say for any prior Civilization player that has been interested in the game series and played it in the past, this is a buy. Once you figure out the new UI as well as the age system, it is quite fun, and they have done a lot of changes to make it a little bit more exciting and not just the exact same game that we've had in the past. However, when it comes to the casual player, I think that you are going to struggle quite a bit. It will lead to some frustration, and unless you have got hours to invest in learning and researching how the game is going to work, I think you are going to be disappointed. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below about Civilization 7, and thank you for watching. Buy or bust.